My dad was obsessed with McDonald's. He couldn't live without it. He wouldn't eat at just any fast food restaurant. No Burger King, no Wendy's. It had to be McDonald's. It got to the point where he would have to eat something from McDonald's at least once a day. Sometimes for breakfast he would run out and get a sausage and egg McMuffin. For lunch he would grab a McChicken sandwich or a double bacon cheeseburger. His favorite meal was a Big Mac and fries. He enjoyed the food, but the rest of the family quickly got tired of it. My mom, my sister, and myself couldn't pick up any cheeseburger. We hated it so much. Gradually, we started trying to avoid eating at McDonald's with him. When he realized what we were doing, it really irritated him. He acted like we had somehow betrayed him by not liking McDonald's. "What's wrong?" he demanded one day. "Why won't you come to McDonald's? Is it because you don't want to eat with me?" My mom looked at the floor. My sister pretended she didn't hear him. "It's not that, Dad," I explained awkwardly. "It's just that we don't want to eat at McDonald's anymore." He stared at us for a few moments, then shook his head sadly and left. 20 minutes later he came back with a double quarter pounder with cheese and ate it alone in the living room. He spent the rest of the evening sulking and giving us dirty looks. One night, after I finished my homework and watched a little TV, I decided to go to bed. My little sister was already fast asleep on the top of the bunk bed. I turned off the light in the bedroom and quietly slid into the bottom bunk, taking care not to wake her up. Some time after, I heard our bedroom door creak open. Squinting in the light from the hallway, I could see a figure standing in the doorway. I blinked my eyes. In surprise, it was Ronald McDonald. He was just standing there, silently staring at us. He didn't seem to be aware that I was awake. In the dim light, he crept into the room and tiptoed quietly over to our bunk bed. From where I was lying on the bottom bed, I could see him reach out and start to shake my sister. "I'm loving it," he shouted. "Oh, oh, oh, I'm loving it, I'm loving it." I heard my sister's piercing scream as the bed began shaking violently. All of a sudden, something fell off the top bunk and hit the desk below, knocking it over and scattering pens and notebooks all over the floor. From the doorway, I heard my mother's voice cry out in alarm. "What the hell are you doing?" Ronald McDonald rushed over and turned on the light. At that moment, I realized it was just my dad dressed up in a Ronald McDonald costume. I rubbed my eyes and looked around. Underneath the overturned desk, I saw part of my sister's pink pajamas peeping out. There was a pool of blood forming around it. My mother just began screaming hysterically, and my father just stood there in shock. The ambulance came a few moments later, and the paramedics rushed in. They looked at my dad in astonishment and asked my dad. In this excitement, he punched one of them in the face. It was absolute chaos. My mom kept shouting, "No, no, you stay home," but my dad pushed her out of the way and scrambled into the back of the ambulance with her. Our neighbors were all standing in their gardens in their pajamas, watching us dumbfounded. There wasn't much they could do for my sister in the hospital. She had injured her spine and her brain in her fall. When the doctors eventually let her come home, she would just lay there on the bed, her eyes open wide, her teeth clenched and unclenched, and her arms and legs waved uncontrollably. Before the accident, my sister had been so sweet and pretty, but now she was completely changed. She couldn't speak. All she could do was groan. When my mom asked my dad why he did it, he told her it was to make us like McDonald's more. My mom cried. I did nothing. And my dad just kept munching on his Big Mac.